November 2007. Heath Ledger locked himself in a hotel room for 6 weeks to become the Joker. He kept a diary nobody knew existed, filled with disturbing images, violent clippings, and the mind of a madman. 2 months after filming wrapped, Heath was found dead in his New York apartment. The diary revealed what the role had done to him. Heath Ledger checked into a hotel room and told friends he didn't want to be disturbed. For the next 6 weeks, he barely left. Room service would leave food outside his door. The curtains stayed closed. The lights stayed dim. Inside, Heath was becoming someone else. Something else. The Joker. He'd created a diary, a character journal that would guide his performance, newspaper clippings about violent crimes, photos of hyenas laughing, images of chaos and destruction, handwritten notes in the Joker's voice. "Why so serious?" "I'm not sure I'll ever come back from this," Heath told a friend during one rare phone call. "The Joker he's in my head now." But what nobody knew was that Heath Ledger was already struggling. Insomnia plagued him. He couldn't turn his mind off the Joker's chaos, followed him even when cameras stopped rolling. And the pills he took to sleep weren't working anymore. Director Christopher Nolan noticed something during filming. Heath would be laughing as the Joker between takes, Nolan later recalled. But when I called cut, the laugh would continue. For just a moment too long, like he couldn't turn it off. Heath Ledger wasn't supposed to become a Hollywood star. Born in Perth, Australia, in 1979, he was a shy kid who loved chess more than the spotlight. But when he discovered acting, something clicked. By his early 20s, he'd moved to Hollywood. 10 Things I Hate About You. The Patriot. A Knight's Tale. Teen, heartthrob roles that made him famous but left him empty. "I don't want to be a pretty face," Heath told an interviewer in 2005. "I want to disappear into characters. I want to become someone else entirely." Brokeback Mountain in 2005 gave him that chance. Playing Ennis Del Mar, a closeted cowboy in love with another man, Heath delivered a performance so raw, so vulnerable, that it earned him an Oscar nomination, but it also brought something Heath wasn't prepared for: intense public scrutiny. Paparazzi followed him everywhere. Tabloids dissected his relationship with Michelle Williams. When their daughter Matilda was born in 2005, the attention became suffocating. "They don't see me," Heath said. "They see this image, this character they've created. I just want to do good work and be left alone." When Christopher Nolan offered him the Joker in The Dark Knight, Heath saw his chance. Not to be a villain in a comic book movie, but to create something nobody had ever seen before. A Joker that would terrify people. That would haunt them. That would be unforgettable. He just didn't realize the role would haunt him too. This is when everything changed. The diary was Heath's key to unlocking the character. But it wasn't just notes on motivation or backstory, it was the Joker's diary, as if the character himself had written it. Inside, photos of Alex DeLarge from A Clockwork Orange. Chaos personified clippings about Sid Vicious, punk rock anarchy, images of hyenas mid-laugh. The sound that inspired Joker's cackle. Handwritten notes: "Chaos is fair, everyone has a chance." Disturbing photos of violence and decay. The word "why" written over and over, Heath showed the diary to almost nobody. It was private, personal, a window into the dark place he had to go to find the Joker. "You can't just turn it on and off," Heath explained to a journalist. "When you're playing someone like this, they're with you all the time, in the shower, while you're eating, when you're trying to sleep. The Joker doesn't take breaks." Co-star Michael Caine said that when he first saw Heath in full Joker makeup on set, he forgot his lines. "I'd never seen anything like it," Caine recalled. Heath wasn't there anymore. Just this thing, this creature. It was genuinely frightening. By December 2007, Heath's insomnia was getting worse. He'd go days with only 2 or 3 hours of sleep. His mind raced constantly, the Joker's chaos bleeding into his real life. "Last week I probably slept an average of 2 hours a night," Heath told a reporter in November 2007 during filming. "I couldn't stop thinking. My body was exhausted, but my mind wouldn't stop." He tried everything. Ambien sleeping pills. Sometimes 2 at a time, they'd knock him out for an hour, then he'd wake up, mind racing again. "I'll start thinking about a scene, or the Joker's laugh, or what he'd do in a certain situation, Heath said, and then I'm awake. And I can't get back. The character was consuming him. Christian Bale, who played Batman, noticed Heath's exhaustion. Some days he looked like he hadn't slept in weeks, Bale later said. I asked if he was okay. He'd just smile and say, yeah, mate, just the Joker keeping me up. Wait a minute, don't miss this detail. During one scene, the hospital explosion where Joker walks away from the blast, Heath improvised something chilling. When the explosion delayed slightly, Heath stayed in character, fumbling with the detonator, confused, then delighted when it finally went off. It wasn't in the script. It was pure Joker, pure chaos. And it was perfect. But off camera, friends worried. Heath's eyes had dark circles. He'd lost weight. He seemed distant, distracted, present, but not present. The role is taking a lot out of me, Heath admitted to his co-star Aaron Eckhart. But it's worth it. This is going to be special. He was right. It would be special. It would also be his last completed role. Filming wrapped on The Dark Knight in November 2007. Heath was done. The Joker was complete. He could move on. Except he couldn't. Heath tried to decompress. He spent time with Matilda, his 2-year-old daughter. He worked on his next film, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, directed by Terry Gilliam. But the insomnia continued, and the pills he was taking, Ambien, Xanax, Valium, OxyContin, weren't working like they used to, so he took more. I'm trying to find the right combination, Heath told his masseuse in early January 2008. Something that will just turn my brain off for a few hours. His apartment in New York's Soho neighborhood became his refuge, but it was also his prison, alone with his thoughts, alone with the Joker still whispering in his head. On January 21, 2008, Heath told friends he wasn't feeling well. He had a cold, a chest infection. He'd called his doctor for antibiotics. That night he took sleeping pills, more than usual, trying to finally sleep. Tuesday, January 22, 2008. 3 p.m. Diana Wallazin, Heath's masseuse, arrived at his apartment for a scheduled appointment. She knocked. No answer. She used her key. Inside, the apartment was quiet. Too quiet. She found Heath face down on his bed, naked, not moving. She shook him. Nothing. She called his friend Mary-Kate Olsen, and Heath had been seeing Mary-Kate casually. Heath's not breathing, Diana said. Mary-Kate told her to call 911. But Diana called Mary-Kate back first. Precious minutes ticked away. Finally, at 3:26 p.m., 911 was called. My friend is unconscious, Diana said, voice shaking. I think he's dead. What you're seeing now is nothing. Paramedics arrived 7 minutes later. They tried to revive Heath. CPR, defibrillation, everything. But he'd been dead for hours. His body was cold. At 3:36 p.m., Heath Ledger was pronounced dead. He was 28 years old. Outside, within hours, news crews gathered. Fans left flowers on the doorstep. The world was in shock. Heath Ledger, the actor who'd just given the performance of a lifetime as the Joker, was gone. The New York City Medical Examiner's Office performed an autopsy immediately. They needed to know. What killed Heath Ledger? The answer came 2 weeks later. The official cause of death: acute intoxication by the combined effects of oxycodone, hydrocodone, diazepam, temazepam, alprazolam, and doxylamine. In simpler terms, 6 different medications: painkillers, anti-anxiety drugs, sleeping pills, combined in his system and stopped his breathing. It was ruled an accidental overdose. Heath hadn't intended to die. He was just desperately trying to sleep. But questions remained. Why was he taking so many medications? Why couldn't he sleep? And what role, if any, did the Joker play? After Heath's death, the Joker diary became public. Photos leaked. People saw what Heath had surrounded himself with to create the character. It was disturbing, dark, violent. When you play a character like that, you have to go to dark places, said Jack Nicholson, who'd played the Joker in 1989. I warned him about it. I told him to be careful. The Joker he's not someone you want living in your head. Had the role killed Heath? Not directly, but had it contributed to his insomnia, his inability to shut off his mind, his increasing reliance on pills. You won't believe this, but Christopher Nolan defended the film and the role. Heath threw himself into everything he did, but he was also struggling with things that had nothing to do with the Joker. The role didn't kill him. But co-star Michael Caine wasn't so sure. I think it took something out of him, something he never got back. The Dark Knight was released 6 months after Heath's death, in July 2008. The marketing was careful, respectful, but everyone knew this was Heath's final complete performance. From the first scene, the bank robbery where Joker reveals himself, audiences knew they were seeing something special. This wasn't Jack Nicholson's campy, colorful Joker. This wasn't a comic book villain. This was chaos incarnate, a force of nature, a predator. Heath's Joker licked his lips constantly, a tic Heath developed because the prosthetic scars kept coming loose. It became iconic. Heath's voice, that low, menacing tone that could shift to a giggle in seconds, was created entirely by Heath. No voice modulation, no effects. Just acting, and that laugh, that horrible, genuine-sounding laugh. Heath had studied hyenas in people with pathological laughter conditions. The result was chilling. Why so serious? It became a cultural catchphrase. Heath's Joker became the definitive version of the character. The film made $1 billion worldwide. Heath's performance was universally praised as the best villain portrayal in cinema history. Everyone knew it was special, but the real shock. February 22, 2009, the 81st Academy Awards. Heath Ledger won Best Supporting Actor for his role as the Joker, posthumously. His family, Mother Sally, Father Kim, Sister Kate, accepted the award on his behalf. Matilda, his daughter, was only 3 years old. Heath's artistry was immeasurable, his father said, voice-breaking. He was a great actor and a wonderful son. We will never forget him. It was only the second posthumous acting Oscar in history. Heath had achieved what he'd always wanted, to be remembered for his work, not his looks. To disappear into a character so completely that people forgot he was acting. He'd succeeded, but the cost had been everything. The official answer: accidental overdose. Too many pills trying to sleep, but the real answer is more complicated. Insomnia. Chronic, debilitating, driving him to take more and more medication. Method acting. Going so deep into a dark character that he couldn't fully come back. Fame. The relentless paparazzi, the invasion of privacy, the pressure, relationship stress. His split from Michelle Williams, not seeing Matilda enough. The Joker, a role that required him to live in darkness for months. None of these things alone killed him, but together they created a perfect storm. A young man, talented beyond measure, pushed to his breaking point, the final truth nobody expected. Rehook number 7, Terry Gilliam, who directed Heath's final film, said it best. Heath was a beautiful man who got trapped by his own intensity, trapped by his need to be perfect, trapped by insomnia and pills and a character that wouldn't leave him alone. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus was only partially filmed when Heath died. Terry Gilliam wanted to cancel the entire production, but Heath's family asked him to continue. Heath would want the film finished, they said, so Gilliam found a solution. Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and Colin Farrell would play Heath's character in different transformed states, donating their salaries to Matilda. The film was released in 2009. It was Heath's final performance, not his best. It couldn't be, given the circumstances, but a testament to how much people wanted to honor his work. Heath died without an updated will. Everything went to his family, not to Matilda directly. But Heath's father immediately announced Matilda will be taken care of. We'll make sure of that. Heath's estate, worth about $20 million at the time, was redirected to Matilda. The posthumous earnings from The Dark Knight and future royalties, potentially hundreds of millions, would all go to her. But no amount of money could replace her father. Matilda was 3 when Heath died. She has no real memories of him. Everything she knows comes from videos, photos, stories. Michelle Williams, Matilda's mother, rarely spoke about Heath publicly. But in a 2009 interview she said, "I want Matilda to know her father was a great man, a talented actor, a loving dad. That's his legacy. Not the pills, not the Joker. Just a good man who left us too soon." Heath Ledger's death changed how we think about method acting, about the cost of great art. about the line between dedication and self-destruction. Jared Leto, who played Joker in Suicide Squad, 2016, said preparing for the role terrified him. After what happened to Heath. "You have to be careful," Leto said. "Heath showed us the danger of going too deep." Joaquin Phoenix, who played Joker in 2019 and won an Oscar, also acknowledged Heath's shadow. "What Heath did was so complete, so perfect, that anyone playing the Joker after him has to deal with that. He set the bar impossibly high." And the truth that haunts us all. On January 22, 2008 at 3:36 p.m., Heath Ledger's heart stopped beating. But the Joker lives forever. Every Halloween thousands dress as Heath's Joker. The purple suit, the green hairs, the scars. "Why so serious?" written on signs, on t-shirts, on posters. Heath wanted to create a Joker that would be unforgettable. He succeeded. But in becoming unforgettable, he lost himself. The diary, that dark, disturbing journal, showed us what it cost to create that performance, and it raises a question that has no easy answer. How much should an artist sacrifice for their art? Heath gave everything. His sleep, his peace of mind, and ultimately his life. Was it worth it? For those who watched The Dark Knight, who saw the greatest villain performance ever filmed, maybe, but for Matilda, who grew up without a father, the answer is different. For Michelle, who lost her partner, the answer is different. For Sally and Kim, who buried their son, the answer is different. Art is eternal. But life is precious, and Heath Ledger's life ended too soon. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, always. Heath Ledger, attributed. The Joker was his masterpiece. But it was also his goodbye. We just didn't know we were watching a farewell.